this fight's a fire fight, and it's a close fight that may favor Joshua Van. What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So in today's video, we are predicting the co-main event for UFC 327, Joshua Van versus Tatsuro Taira. I like this matchup. This could be an absolute brawl. Joshua Van's main thing is his boxing, and Tatsuro's really good at jiu-jitsu. I think he's one of the best jiu-jitsu fighters in the UFC as of right now. But we're going to go over 3 things each fighter needs to do to win. Who do I got winning? Let's get into the video. Let's take a look at Tatsuro Taira's last fight against Brandon Moreno. I thought it was a pretty good fight. The first round, for sure, I thought Tatsuro lost. Second round, he came in looking sharp. But I think the stoppage was very early. I thought Brandon Moreno was going to get back up. I think the referee was like, okay, he's getting punched too much. I need to stop the fight. If I was the referee, I would have waited at least 10 more seconds. Or at least 5 to 10 more seconds, and to see if Brandon Moreno is going to get back up. But if he didn't, okay, I would have stopped the fight. But the stoppage was way too early. And even Brandon Moreno was looking mad confused on why the fight was stopped. Now, as for Joshua Van, he won the title against Alexandre Pantoja. Yeah, it ended in 26 seconds. The freaking injury was like, ugh. I remember watching it live, and I was just thinking, I'm like, wow. I thought, because sometimes when you get injured like that, sometimes you can still keep the belt, and the person who won technically won't win the belt. But Joshua Van did win the belt. But let's take a look at his other fight with Brandon Royval. That was one of the best. That was probably the best fight of the year, hands down. But the beginning of the fight, Joshua Van couldn't even land not one punch on Brandon Royval. Brandon Royval had thrown like 20 punches, and Joshua Van didn't even throw none. One thing about Brandon Royval's style, he's just so fast that he can hit you so many times, and then by the first round, he throws like 20 punches, and then you only throw like 7 at least. But mind you, Tatsuro Taira's only loss is to Brandon Royval, and he could have possibly won that fight, guys. But let's take a look at Tatsuro's fight with Brandon Royval. That was a good fight. The first 2 rounds, I thought he won. Then that's when Brandon Royval won the 3rd and 4th round. The 5th round was kind of too close for me to decide. I kind of thought Tatsuro maybe won that fight, but it was a good fight. But then also, let's look at Tatsuro's fight against Hung Young Park. Mind you, Park took that fight on short notice because Tatsuro Taira was supposed to fight Amir Albazi, but Amir Albazi pulled out. Tatsuro Taira literally schooled Hung Young Park for only 2 rounds. Hung Young Park got beat up bad, bro. I think Tatsuro Taira, if he beats Joshua Van, I think he may be the next person to take over the division. Do I think Pantoja could beat him? I don't know, because mind you, Joshua, I don't even know if he'll beat Joshua Van in a rematch, because mind you, Tatsuro Taira and Joshua Van are really young. They still got years ahead of them, and who knows, maybe in the next 2 to 3 years, they could be way better. And mind you, Pantoja's almost on his way out. I don't know if Pantoja will beat Tatsuro Taira nor Joshua Van, nor if he comes back. I don't know if he'll be able to beat anybody in the top 10. But who knows? It depends on how he recovers, though. If he comes back right away, I think he'll take the whole. I think he should take the whole year off and come back like the second quarter of 2027. It may sound crazy, but you have to be smart. You can't just come back right away. You got to make sure your arm's good. So I think Pantoja should just take the rest of the year off. I know he wants to reclaim his belt back, but if he recovers, if his arm injury recovers good, and it's not bad, that maybe he can claim his title back. But who knows how that will happen. But now back to Joshua Van and Tatsuro Taira. Joshua Van, like I said, in that fight with Brandon Royval, he was barely landing. And then once Brandon Royval was like, because Brandon Royval, sometimes he gets too cocky. Once Brandon Royval started getting cocky, that's when Joshua Van was landing those shots. And to be honest, I thought Brandon Royval almost won. But I think what gave Joshua Van that win is that he dropped him literally in the last 5 seconds. Sometimes when you drop somebody in the last 5 seconds, if it's a close fight, you most likely probably get the win. But one thing about Joshua Van is that sometimes he gets stuck in the mud. In that fight with Brandon Royval, like I said, he was barely landing. And Tatsuro Taira is also very fast too. So Joshua Van may get stuck in the mud too, but who knows? Brandon Royval is a better striker than Tatsuro Taira. But now, let's do 3 things these fighters need to do to win. Starting off with Tatsuro Taira. Tatsuro Taira needs to close the distance safely. And what I mean by that is that if he's trying to land, he can't land no takedown too far away. So he's got to make sure he's very fast and immediately shoots. If he's gonna land a takedown, if he's gonna stand with him and not land a takedown, okay, keep your distance maybe. But also, Joshua Van I would say hits very hard. You know, he hits hard, but he has some of the best boxing in the UFC. So if you get caught with one punch, you may go to the floor. But now, number 2, he needs to control the positions, not just hunt for submissions. Sometimes when you hunt for submissions, and you don't get them, it tires you out. So you got to make sure you control the position, make him tired, and then you can hunt for the submission. Not immediately when you guys go to the ground. But who knows? Maybe he can. But now, lastly, he needs to slow the tempo. Joshua Van's gonna try to make this a fire fight, so try and slow it down by wrestling, or if you want to stand with Joshua Van, hit his body and legs to slow it down. Because even though that sometimes it's a bad idea to strike with somebody, there are ways for you to strike with a striker. Like for once, like I said, take their legs away and use their body. And also, if you're not going to land takedowns, at least press them against the cage to tire them out a little bit if you don't want to get them on the ground. So there are ways for you to strike with him. But now for Joshua Van needs to, the takedown defense is priority. He needs to have the takedown defense as priority here. Because if Tatsuro Taira keeps landing those takedowns and Joshua Van can't defend them, this fight is over for him. He's gonna get either submitted or he's going to tire out and get beat and get dominated for 5 rounds. Lastly, he needs to pressure with clean boxing. Like I said, Joshua Van has some of the cleanest boxing. His boxing is so sharp, so he's gotta use that to pressure Tatsuro Taira into being overwhelmed. Now, lastly, he needs to make it a high output. I think if this fight's a fire fight and it's a close fight, that may favor Joshua Van. Because I'm starting to think that if there's close fights, Tatsuro Taira will lose those fights. Tatsuro Taira's got to make this fight like how Max Holloway and Charles Oliveira went. Just pure dominant on the ground. And if he does that, like I said, I'll probably tire out Joshua Van, and he may submit him. Because Joshua Van has never faced no elite grappler. Yeah, he faced Pantoja, but it was only for 20 seconds because of the arm injury. Other than that, he hasn't faced no other wrestler or grappler at all. Now, who do I got winning this fight? I got Tatsuro Taira, guys. I think some people may be sleeping on Tatsuro Taira because I know a lot of people that I know said Joshua Van's going to win, but is that really the case? Because Tatsuro Taira is a good fighter. He has the capability to beat Joshua Van, because now that Joshua Van is the UFC Flyweight champion, And I feel like anybody could beat Joshua Van. No disrespect, but anybody could take that belt. Even Steve Erceg, for an example. Steve Erceg could probably take that belt and win it if he was to get a title shot with Joshua Van. But that will be the end of the video, guys. Make sure you guys hit that like, subscribe button. Comment down below who you guys got winning this fight. Joshua Van or Tatsuro Taira. I'll see you on the next one. I'm out. Peace.